So, like everyone has seen, we uploaded a video from Britain's Strongest Man 2023. Congratulations to Adam Bishop again, 2-time Britain's Strongest Man champion. However, coming up to Britain's Strongest Man, we had some news. Basically, we had 3 athletes pull out. So we had Pau Dwyer, Terry Holland, and then Luke Richardson. Mm-hmm. Luke Richardson, during the week, put up a video on his own Instagram, basically telling us the truths of what it was like leading up to Britain's Strongest Man and the intensity, basically, of how bad his injury was.
Yeah.
So, reading off Luke's Instagram. Tough week after unfortunately receiving the MRI result I wasn't hoping for, which concluded a full thickness tear of my lat tendon. I'm in for surgery on Wednesday next week to have it reattached. I want to say a big thank you to Darren Sadler at Giants Live Strongman for loaning me the money for the surgery, as after financially all-inning the Brits prep, I simply wouldn't have been able to afford it. As a result, would have significantly delayed or permanently affected my ability to recover and return to sport. I also would like to thank Adam Bishop Strongman for pulling some strings and getting me seen by the best shoulder surgeon in the UK as soon as possible. And finally, a big thank you to all my sponsors, coaches and loved ones for the continuous support throughout this terrible phase of my strongman journey. I am very grateful. Time to test the strength of my spirit against another one of life's challenges. Wish me luck and much love.
It's a rough one.
It's a rough one.
It is a rough one. He had rough 2 years now?
Yeah. It's 3 injuries in 2 years.
Yes. This injury is pretty serious from what I understand. And I don't know how dangerous of an injury when it comes to his strongman career, because I seen, for example, bodybuilders, they tear their pack. Do you remember the video with Larry Wheels went viral? One guy, one bodybuilder.
Some guy he was training with did the incline press.
Yes, he tried to get his PR on an incline press and he completely tore his pack. Now, seems like that injury even aged the guy.
Yes. Stress, pressure on the body, everything.
That was severe injury to the body. He got it repaired. I follow him on Instagram, but I don't see his post as much anymore. I think it really affected him because though he got the surgery, still you can see that there's something going on there, and for a bodybuilder, it's most likely the end of his career.
Yeah. So as well as physical aspects, you have mental aspects.
Yes.
You have financial aspects.
Yes, which is Larry Wheels did GoFundMe.
Yeah. So basically, that evening, I think once the video went up, or when I think it was live, whatever it was.
So they were looking, I think, for £20,000 to perform the surgery.
Yeah.
I think Luke Richardson might be looking at the same amount of money to get the surgery done, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And Darren Sadler, being a gentleman as he is,
you've had great time with Darren.
Yeah, and elevating the strongman sport to another level.
Yeah.
He most likely give him the money, as he said, and that's not going to be a cheap operation in even recovery.
So you know yourself, Darren competed in strongman.
Yeah.
Like, he knows what it is like to be a strongman. Yeah. Obviously, you have financial hits that you have to take. Obviously, when you're prepping, it's tough to have to be able to train that much. And, like, he knows himself, basically, if you get injured, it's a tough
Darren Sadler competed with me in my first World Strongest Man competition in South Africa. And in the warm-up, he tore his biceps.
Nice.
Yeah, so he wasn't even able to compete in that competition. And he left it like that. You can see even now that he didn't go for the surgery, which I always advise someone, if you get an injury like that when it comes to tendon tears, I think you should really consider going for the surgery. You know, I know Laws, I believe he tore both of his biceps, and he didn't go for the surgery. And from what I can see now, he's trying to do arm wrestling, and maybe will try to compete in arm wrestling. I'm not sure.
You need biceps.
I think you do need biceps, and I think it will affect him. Though he has very strong grip and phenomenal strong forearms, but most likely he will need biceps. So if a strongman or any athlete tears a tendon, though biceps is considered as a vanity muscle, doesn't play that much role into when it comes to sports and certain sports. So, but I think it's still important to get that reattached.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of stigma when it comes to strongman, that you have to be all in if you want to be successful.
All in or nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't have a job. You have to be like full-time strongman if you want to reach the pinnacle of our sport.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the case.
Yeah. So basically yourself. You know yourself.
Yes.
You had a job while training for strongman, world's strongest man, competed at the highest level. You were still, say, running a business a couple of years later. You were working at the time.
I was working. I put myself into that situation that I was running a gym, and I was working like physically. I had to be in the gym. Nowadays, a lot of strongmen try to do online coaching.
Yeah.
And as you know, and as I know, online it's not consistent. Online coaching is not consistent.
It's tough. It's tough to keep going.
Yes. So unless, I don't know, you have unbelievable training program or nutrition knowledge where you can constantly rake in the money, but there's so many people doing that nowadays that it's saturated.
Yeah, saturated.
Saturated. So I don't know what's the story with Luke Richardson.
Yeah.
So now for these 2 or 3 years that he can't compete, he's not taking any income at all. And living a strongman life is not cheap.
No.
Especially when it comes to, you still have to pay probably rent and car and all other stuff. Yeah. So my advice to strongmen who starting off, and I know unless you have some sort of sponsors who can give you like, I don't know, 50, 60 grand a year, when it comes to being a professional athlete, that would be nice, but I think it's super rare. And I don't think that is happening at the moment in a strongman sport. So, and you have to have in mind that these tournaments are won by probably 3 or 4 guys.
Every year.
Yes, every year, who are at the top of their sport. So they're making money.
Yeah.
So they sort of can afford not to work because they're already winning these big prizes and they probably has pretty decent sponsors as well. So they are fine. But when you're starting off, I don't think it's a great idea just to go all in and just hope for the best. I know that Luke Richardson had a lot of potential.
Yes.
But this injury,
a serious injury.
It's the first time basically I find out about that injury when Nick Best tore his lat. Before that, I never heard in the strongman circuits that complete rupture of the lat tendon.
Completely off the bone.
Off the bone completely. So if it's off the bone, so that means if it's a clean rupture, it's perfect. But if there's a muscle damage as well with it, then it becomes way more complicated, you know. So my advice would be always have a plan B.
Yes.
You know, and treat the strongman as like a sport, like a hobby in a way at the start. And if you get something out of it, and if you become top 5 best strongman in the world, then you can maybe consider moving on and
like
going
realistically, the main people have made a great living out of it. You're talking Hafthor Bjornsson, Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall.
Eddie, when it comes to Eddie, so Eddie, he said it himself. He said he was a truck mechanic, right? So at the age of, I think, 25 or 26, he was approached by someone and says, I will sponsor you fully just to do strongman and try to win world's strongest man. Yeah. So he was able to find that person who truly believed that he's capable of
financial backing.
Yes, so he was able to go in and do this, and he won the world's strongest man, which from that person could have been a big gamble, and it couldn't have been paid off at all, like, you know, but it did, fortunately. When it comes to Brian Shaw was on a severe pressure. I remember in 2012 when I finished second in the world's strongest man. Yeah. So he was there. He was having nerve issues on his left arm, and I know that for a fact that he struggled financially pretty badly, like, you know?
Yeah.
And he told us that. And because after that surgery, he was even thinking going. So he thought that his career is completely over, and he will need to do go into basketball coaching or American football coaching or something like that. So at one point, even legendary Brian, who's Mr. Consistency, thought that his career is pretty much over.
Yeah.
And he can, but like, fortunately, he was able to overcome the injury. Fortunately, he was able to start a very successful YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Where again, like,
he made himself a brand.
yes.
Yeah.
So again, like, he started making even more money, which it's not like when you have all that money coming in from what you love to do, it's like it's a bit of relief, and I think it was a massive relief for Brian Shaw and for Eddie Hall as well. Yeah. Though Eddie Hall, I think, went into YouTube only after winning World's Strongest Man, where these boys really made loads of money.
They accelerated big time.
Yeah, because the Strongman really went mainstream, and that's where they get all their revenue. But I can tell you multiple stories in the past when Strongman, like for example, Krzysztof Ryzykowski, he snapped his numerus when he was benching 270 kilos. Literally snapped through here. So he needed a surgery, and they put a titanium rod inside his bone marrow to keep everything intact. And after 2 months, he was already competing in Lithuania with me. When I saw him there, I was like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
It's like 2 months ago, you had the surgery and you're already competing. Says, I have to compete. Again, because of the money.
Financial aspect.
Yes, he wasn't working. That was his full-time job. Strongman. So he competed 20 times a year. Like, again, he was lucky enough to be one of the strongest people in the world.
So he could afford to.
He could afford to keep winning, and the prize money wasn't even great. He competed a lot for Champions League, and I think the prize money was between 2,000 and 3,000 per competition for winning first place, which is not bad if you're winning.
Like nowadays,
it's not, because Giants Live pays way more.
30,000.
Yeah, for the winner. But then you could compete, let's say, 3 times a month, 4 times a month, so you can end up like making like 6,000 or 8,000 or 10,000 euros a month, which is not bad money.
Not bad money, but it's a lot of strain on the body for 10,000.
So that, and when your body starts to break down, suddenly all that income is gone.
Yeah,
and
you go from 10,000 to 0.
Yeah. So, and Krzysztof sort of put that pressure on himself to constantly compete and make money. The same with Erwin Katona, though Erwin, I think he had a gym in Serbia. I don't know how successful the gym was, how much money he was making in that gym, but like he competed a lot, and I feel he needed to compete that much, just to make his time board.
Majority of the time, the people that go into sports, like, it is a hobby. It starts off as a hobby.
Yeah.
You don't just go to school and then you're a full-time professional strongman. Like,
it's not there yet.
No, it's not there. But even at that, it's still a thing that, like, you play it as a hobby. Even pro basketballers, like, they play it as a hobby to go to school and then to end up making a career out. Same as strongman. Like, you end up like Graham Hicks was the engineer. So Graham Hicks was an engineer. He went into strongman. He was lucky enough to be able to make a pro career of it.
Yeah.
But like, realistically, how often are you going to go, like we were saying about Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall, like, you're never really going to be that top person unless you're physically gifted.
Like, you have to be super lucky, and loads of guys try to go that route, and I think it's like, if it's meant to be for you to win the world's strongest man and to be top 5 strongest person in the world for like, I don't know, 5 years, then if you'll get to that point, then you can say, okay, that's who I am. I'm going to be a professional strongman. But before that,
have a safety net.
Have a safety net. Safety net would be have a job, try to get an education,
have savings.
Yeah, have savings. All that stuff come with time. I think then you like. There's a lot of guys. Luke Richardson is the best example. Loads of guys injured that I know as well. Loads of young guys who tore their patella tendons. And they out of the picture. Yeah. They can't compete anymore. Their dreams are gone, shattered, you name it. And they don't know what to do next. That's where the depression might come into play and all other bad things. So my advice would be always have plan B.
This might seem a bit heavy, like it's something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
People that have been watching this channel for a while know that like we're not afraid to touch off these topics. We've done in the past with refereeing. Yep. Maybe have been brought up this weekend, maybe not. We never know. But basically these things need to be talked about. Like, realistically, strongman, it's a great sport. But is the finance there really at the moment? It's tough to tell unless, like you were saying, you're the top 5, top 3 athletes in the world. Other than that, you really need to have some sort of backup because, like you're saying, one injury could just end your career like that.
Easy, yeah.
Easy, very easy. Like always, we want to get your feedback on it. Let us know in the comment section down below what you think. We've been touching off videos like this over the last year, basically when it comes to anything to social media, things that like kind of sometimes are swept under the carpet.
Yeah.
We feel like they need to come out into the public. Like I was saying, make sure to comment down below. Let us know how you feel about this topic. If you're new to the channel, please press the subscribe button. We're over 5,100 subscribers from the last video.
Yeah.
Great number.
Great number.
You know, if you like this kind of content, make sure to press the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, make sure to press the bell icon. It'll keep you up to date on everything that's Lavish Brothers. Like always, we'll see you in the next video.
See you later.